The National Collaborative for Infants and Toddlers is an education and advocacy movement committed to ensuring that every child prenatal to 3 and their families have what they need to thrive. Our equity efforts have evolved from building more diverse advocacy coalitions to embedding equity within policies to funding campaigns led by organizations that center communities most impacted by racism and other forms of oppression.
I was excited to get the opportunity to come here and advocate for that. I work in my community with SNAP benefits and other public assistance programs. So I see every day how SNAP can benefit children and their families. Being able to afford healthier foods can give the children better outcomes in school. It can help children with cognitive delays if they're better nourished and their families can afford those fruits and vegetables and healthier foods just in their day-to-day lives.
Because it's too hard to feed your family on a healthy diet when the healthy foods are 3 times more than the unhealthy foods. So I'd love to be able to see that, and I'd love for them to hear us on that.
It was critical to have the SNAP benefits during the pandemic, and not just being able to go to food pantries and things like that, but to be able to go to the grocery store, to be able to purchase food online was very critical to being able to support your family. And so having small children, they eat a lot as well as big kids eat a lot. And so the increased funding really helped, I believe, stabilize some families within the state of Michigan. And so keeping that amount increased is only going to make sure that our children aren't going hungry. A lot of the food at the schools the children don't eat, so being able to provide more food at home is critical to our children being healthy. It is almost becoming unaffordable to eat healthy, I would say. It costs just as much to buy fresh fruits and vegetables as it does to buy a frozen dinner at this point. And so you're really losing options at this point. Just the quality of produce has gone down, and that goes, along with the agriculture and what's happening around the world as far as the climate. But the prices of food has really made it a struggle for families to be able to provide those nutritional foods instead of, say, just buying a bag of chips or, sugar drinks and different things like that.
How can you build proper brain development? How could you physically develop? How, it all goes together, and just me learning a lot of those things, that one thing affects this thing and affects this thing. I'm really hoping that they change how the SNAP benefits work for families. Hopefully they can come up with a resolution for it to be better. The system is broken and it needs fixing in a lot of ways, and hopefully this could be the start of that.
I think the SNAP program does a lot to really address nutritional needs of families at all age ranges, but for particularly young children, for folks to have the access to those foods and those dollars in an ongoing way is really important. And this particular farm bill also would address some technology access needs to make getting access to those benefits easier. And we also support, of course, super nutritious SNAP benefits.
I feel like it's very important because so many families, the bulk of the program is basically dedicated to the SNAP benefits. So that's very important for them to see economically where we stand right now. We paying $5 for a loaf of bread. We paying $5 for gas. We paying $5, but ain't no paychecks going up. So they need to really take these things into account.
It's critical that we pass the Farm Bill because, when you look at all the different titles that are included in the Farm Bill, the one that probably has the most significance to families who are struggling is the provision, the Title IV, that provides for food subsidies of food. And this is so basic. It's so basic that to not support food for families who are struggling just doesn't make sense to me. So, for me, when I look at the Farm Bill, which is misnamed, by the way, because it's not just about farms, it's about family health, it's about nutrition, it's about economic development, but especially about supporting families that are struggling the most.
Investing in the health and well-being of our mothers and children is not only a moral imperative, but a strategic choice that shapes the very foundation of our society. By prioritizing prenatal and child health, we nurture the potential of our future generations, building a healthier, stronger, and more prosperous world for all. Let us come together, advocate for change, and ensure that every child from the moment of conception receives the care, nutrition, and support they all need to thrive. Because when we invest in their health, we invest in a brighter future for all of us.